Hello, Algebra 1. Today we are moving on to the second half of Unit 2, where we'll be analyzing motion and as well as something called slope and y-intercept. So today our goal is to analyze motion graphs, and we're going to do this with the help of a program called Moving Man, which we will work with in just a minute. So first what we're going to do is give a definition for rate, because this is something we will use a lot in this unit. And a rate is a change in any unit in relation to another unit. And in this case, we don't mean unit like we are on unit 2, we mean unit like feet or meters or dollars or something like that. So rates are things that we've actually seen before. Feet per second, that's a unit we'll be using today. Miles per hour, okay, that's another unit that we'll use to describe rate. Maybe dollars per day. All right, all of these are types of units. So the first thing we're going to do is see what happens when Moving Man begins at -10. So he'll be over here. I'll move him there in a second. And he travels at a moderate, steady rate away from the tree. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him down to -10. And I'm going to be moving him away from the tree at a moderate rate, meaning just kind of like in the middle. Okay, there he goes. He's not moving his arms, but that's all right. Okay, good enough. All right, so now I can play that back. And we can see that he's moving away from the tree, and we can see what's happening to our line here. So let's go ahead and we're just going to draw that. It doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, but it was something like this. Now, the big things that you should notice is that this line is straight, or as straight as I could make it. And this is because we were going at a steady, or another word is constant rate. All right, his speed was steady or constant. So he wasn't getting faster and then going slower. He was going the same speed every time, or for the whole time. All right, now in terms of the moderate, you're going to notice this line isn't super steep, but it's also not very flat. So I'm just going to make a mention of that. So not very steep or flat. It's kind of in the middle in terms of its steepness. All right, so let's try a different situation. What are the results when Moving Man begins at -10 and travels at a fast, steady rate away from the tree? Okay, so essentially we're going to do the same thing here, but this time he is going to be moving quickly. So I want you to think, how is this going to change? All right, ready? Here we go. He's going fast. And what you should notice is our line is much steeper when I moved him quickly. However, it's still a straight line. And again, that straight line represents that we were moving at a constant rate. Okay, again, he was going the same speed the whole time. All right, but this is much steeper. And the reason that's the case is because he's covering more distance over less time. All right, time is down here at the bottom, and you can see his distance is up on the y-axis here. So he's traveling further in a shorter amount of time, which is why that line is steeper. All right, so let's try another situation. What are the results when Moving Man begins at -10, travels away from the tree for a second, and then stops? So I've changed my scale down here for time, so it's easier for us to be able to see when he hits 1 second. So when my line crosses right here at 1 second, that's when I'm going to go ahead and stop. All right, so I'm just going to keep an eye on it. Oh, I don't know why it made that noise. But yeah, I stopped a little after 1 second, but you can take a look and see what happens here. What we've got is what's called a horizontal line. I know it's really tempting to call it a straight line, but really all lines are straight, so this is a horizontal line. All right, so it went something like this. And again, I don't know why that crash noise happened. So we're just going to say when he stopped. There was a horizontal line. Okay, and maybe you didn't hear that crash sound. Maybe it was just something on my end. Who knows? But again, we call it a horizontal line, not a straight line. And this is a horizontal line because time is continuing, but his distance isn't changing at all. Okay? All right, so what I want you to do is take a second. I want you to pause the video, and I just want you to fill in the letters of the blanks here. This is going to take you like 10 seconds. So just go ahead and do that. Maybe you don't even have to pause the video. You've maybe done it while I'm talking. And here are your answers. He moved at a fast and constant rate. Again, fast, you're looking for steep, so that's going to be C. He stopped moving. This is what we just talked about. Horizontal line, that's going to be B. He moved slowly at a constant rate. Well, slowly would be a less steep line or a flat line. That would be A. And then he moved fastest here. Again, that's referring to steep, so you should have a C again. All right, now in this situation, an uphill line meant that moving man was moving away from the tree or towards the house. What happens if we're going to move him the opposite way, towards the tree? So what's actually going to happen, and you might have thought about this, is the line is going to go downhill. It's going to go the opposite direction. Okay, you can also look at it as decreasing. So this time, moving man is going to start at 0 meters. We're going to have him travel away from the tree at a fast speed. And then when he hits the house, he's going to turn around and travel towards the tree at a slow speed. Ooh, okay, this is a lot of work for me. All right, so let's look at that again. We're starting at 0 meters. Okay, so I'll put him there. We're traveling away from the tree at a fast speed. All right, so I'm moving towards the house. And then when I get to the house, I'm going to turn around and move towards the tree at a slow speed. All right, here I go. I'm moving fast. I'm turning around. I'm moving slow. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw that. We're starting at 0 meters, so go ahead and put your starting point there. We moved fast, so we have a steeper line, and then it's decreasing and we were going slow. That matches pretty well, I think. Okay, our meters are a little different up here than what I have, but the shape of the graph is what's important. So let's call this guy A, segment A, and let's call this guy segment B. For segment A, what you need to know is we're going fast because this is a steep line, and we're moving away from the tree, and that's because our distance is increasing. Okay, we're going uphill. Uphill. Now in segment B, we have a less steep line. Okay, and my A should maybe be a little steeper, but this should be slow because my line is flatter. Okay, so I might make that a little flatter. Maybe like that. And I am moving towards the tree. That means my distance is decreasing, and that's why I have a downhill line. All right, let's try another one. Moving man starts at -5 meters. He travels away from the tree for 3 seconds at a slow rate. Then he stops for 5 seconds. Then he turns and heads towards the tree at a fast rate. Okay, so I'm going to clear. I'm starting at -5 meters. Okay, and let me say what I'm doing again. I'm going to travel away from the tree for 3 seconds. Okay, so here's 3 seconds at a slow rate, and then I'm going to stop for 5 seconds. Okay, 3 plus 5 should put me to 8. And then I'm going to turn and head towards the tree at a fast rate. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to go away for 3 at a slow rate. 1, 2, 3, and now I'm stopping for 5 seconds. Okay, I'm waiting until it gets to 8, and then I'm moving fast. And I waited a little too long there, you can see. Okay, I did closer to 9 seconds instead of 8. All right, so let's go ahead and draw that, and we'll draw it like I was a little better with my time. So slow for 3, and then I stopped for 5, so that's going to go to 8, and then fast, so that's steeper. So this is away because my distance is increasing. This is stopped, and then down is towards because my distance is decreasing. Okay, so think about it. If I started walking towards you right now, my distance to you would be decreasing, right? I'm getting closer to you. So that's why the line is going downhill. All right, last thing we're going to do is just these 2 problems here, or I guess a couple problems. What was the skateboarder's initial position, which means starting point? So the line starts up here at the y-axis at the point 0, 7. So that's where he's beginning. And when was the skateboarder moving the fastest? All right, well, you should be looking at these 2 segments, and we should notice that segment A, which is between 0 and 2 seconds here, this is when he was the steepest. Okay. When is the skateboarder moving away from the detector? So when you move away from someone, this means your distance is increasing. Okay, or going uphill. So if we take a look, going uphill is this guy, and that's between 2 and 10 seconds, so that would be B. All right, and finally we're going to describe both the direction and the rate of the person in this graph. All right, so between 0 and 2 seconds, that's this portion right here, so we're dealing with this. In terms of direction, it's increasing, so that means we're moving away. And I guess I think this is a moderate rate. It's not super flat. You could also just say slow if you want. I'm going to say moderate. Between 2 and 4 seconds, this is just a horizontal line. So we're not moving further or closer. This is just your stopped. Between 4 and 6, this is pretty steep. So this is fast. Notice you're also going uphill. So uphill means we're moving away because again, that means that our distance is increasing. And I'm going to say this is fast. Between 6 and 9 seconds, we are stopped again. And between 9 and 10 seconds, that's this guy, this is now going downhill. Okay, so your distance is decreasing, which means we're getting closer, or you could say going towards. And this is really steep, so I'm going to say and really fast. All right, so there was your video on motion. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.